Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of Clayshare Con. We have another pottery packed day planned for you. We're going to start this morning with studio tours from some of our members, so I'm excited to see what their studios look like. I'm Jessica Putnam-Phillips. I'm going to be your host for Clayshare Con. I'm also the founder of Clayshare and Clayshare Con, so really excited for this year's event. We've already had day 1. As I mentioned, we're day 2. And we still get 3 more days after today. If you want to see the full schedule, go ahead to claysharecon.com and you can see the schedule there. We're also having special promos from sponsors and presenters during this week, as well as giveaways every day. Tonight we have 21 prizes to give away. I thought there was only 18. No. There's 21. And one I forgot from last night. So that one was added in too. So I'm pretty excited for all the good stuff coming your way. So let's get started with studio tours.
Hi, I'm Amy Krenzer, and welcome to my studio in North Jersey. So I'm in my basement. I've got this old table set up, another little table next to it, and I'm making use of a lot of the metal wire rolling racks. I find those are great organizers. This little guy is terrific. I do a lot of, I use it for glazing, and I end up with my transfers on the top tray because then they don't get messed and confused with everything else. I've got some glazes on an over-the-door rack. I think I found that through a post, and that's available on Amazon. It holds a lot of glazes and a lot of weight. Over on this side, more wire rack storage. Not as neat as it could be, but it'll do. And then I have even more glazes. Yep, can't avoid it. So in my studio, I have friends' artwork. I have an idea board. Way up top, you can't probably see it because of the light. I have a special mug from Jessica. Here I have some brown transferware plates. I collected those when I lived in Vermont and recently put them up. They're a nice inspiration. Love to work with transferware. So the rest of the basement, don't want to get you too dizzy. So I have a bookcase over here filled with quilting books, but I realize I should change those now to clay books. I'd like to introduce Serena. She's my slab roller. She's a mini tabletop from Bailey's. She's named after Serena Williams because she is so strong and capable. Of course, always have foam on the ready. There's a bag of clay. My clay kind of lives everywhere. This one wants to live close to Serena. I had wanted to put a table right here. Haven't done that yet. This is a display rack. I use this in shows, but I also use it for drying greenware or glazeware, and it's been really handy. I have this other little wire rack contraption, and I've been making fabric texture templates, so I store them here. You get kind of addicted to making these, but these texture plates work really well. And then over in the corner, after I roll out a slab, I'll usually wrap it up to work with later, and it's wrapped in plastic, but you can see that that slab roller gives you a nice large size dimension. So without getting you too dizzy, that's my little studio. Very happy down here. You can do it for little money in your basement. My kiln lives in my garage. And I just wanted to wish everyone well. Happy Clayshare Con.
Hey everyone, welcome to our clay and glass workshop. I am Crystal and I live in Spring, Texas near Houston with my son. And we do glass and clay in our workshop. We are transitioning it from a messy garage to a functional workshop. So please bear with the mess. I apologize in advance. Come on in. My son and I both have disabilities, and so we kind of have to go very slow and modify what we do. Over here is his throwing area. He uses a Brent, and we're still experimenting with different kinds of bat systems to find out the one that works the best for him. He's reclaiming clay, and he's got a neat wedging surface, but I think we're going to transition to using that as a reclamation surface. If you want to know about that, get in touch with me. We just got a Brent extruder. Looking forward to using that and learning how to use it in the workshop this week. Our pegboard system with all of our tools. We really like this. Whole lot of clay. And some things that he's been throwing. He's trying to make a dish set, different sizes. Here's my very first hand building projects. There's the bird magnet and the cactus magnet. That one fell and broke. I'm very sad, but it happens. I want to show you this really cool table that we had built for us. It's just the right height for us to use. And you can make that out of these cool Lego building block things you get off of Amazon. You can get 2x4s or whatever, and you can build it in any configuration that you want. And there's our dog. That's why we have a screen door. So we have our very first dry glaze, and we're going to experiment with that in the next couple of days. We got chum blue, and looking forward to that. Here are a few things that the kiddo is throwing, some examples of what he does. I'm really very proud that he's figured out these shapes on his own. And so he's looking forward to experimenting with that. I used to paint pottery. I like painting pre-17th century reproductions. And I'm looking forward to recreating this in clay or in glass. That's one of my goals, if I can pull it off. I store some of my glass cutting tools down below, as well as other glass pieces, and banding wheels and work boards on the other side. I have those stored down there. Like I said, we do clay and glass. We're already out of space. All of this down here is about to get branched out into baskets like this. We keep a basket from Amazon. White means clean, gray means dirty, and we can keep our stuff organized to go toss it in the wash pretty quick. Our sink's a mess, but we love having the sink in the workshop. It is really cool. We do have a Glaco trap down there. Inspirational pottery. So that is another great thing that we have in the workshop that's easy to pop tools up in there while they dry. Here are some more hand building things that I'm trying to do. This is taking forever to dry. Going to make some Texas cutouts, got some cardinals up there, stars and that type of thing. More things the kiddo has thrown. He really likes throwing these very thin rimmed things. Our kiln is a Jenkin ceramic glass. That means it does clay and ceramic at the top, at the flip of a switch. The top of this kiln has a top firing option or a side fire option, so we can switch back and forth between the two. I also do reproduction, or I used to do reproduction manuscripts from the Middle Ages and Renaissance. That's the last thing that I was working on. We have a system in the corner for showing off examples that my son wants to remember to throw again. That was the prettiest peacock thing ever, and it crazed, but I'm still going to keep it. This is why you don't like to do glass and ceramics in the same workshop, because you get this. So we're fixing to tear all of this down, store all of this stuff in tubs, and eventually our slab roller is going to go here. So that is the very quickie overview of our workshop, and I just want to say that Jessica makes this look really easy. But we sure are learning a lot with ClayShare and meeting all of you guys, and hope you're doing well. Y'all stay safe and take care. Bye.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Knox from Denver, Colorado, and I'm going to show you my little working studio. This is my wedging table. The first piece of equipment that I got, my husband made it for me, and it's sturdy as a rock, so it's wonderful. Over here I've got a sink with my little Glaco trap so that the clay doesn't go down the drain. Here I've got a collection of my JPP rolling pins. I've got my De La Design cookie cutters, as well as a lot of other cookie cutters. Here's my wheel. I have plenty of shelf space for all the tools that I need, and then some that I don't even need, which is wonderful. I've got my collection of GR pottery forms, which are great to work with. Over here I've got some greenware waiting to be fired, and I've got to make some more to put in the kiln. Here I've got my clay share apron from the workshop that I sadly had to miss because of COVID. This is my L&L kiln. It's a perfect size for me and for the amount of work that I do. I got it last April and I've only fired it about 6 times, but it's been great and I've loved it. Over here I have my little tool cabinet, everything labeled. I've got some finished pieces on the rack over here and some of my glazes down below. This green little greenhouse is where I try to dry things more slowly so that they don't crack. Over here I've got some more of my glazes and underglazes and tools to, make some drawings on my pieces. On the wall I'm just starting to make some glaze testing and see how everything looks and if it works. Some do, some don't. It's an ongoing process. Anyway, thanks very much for visiting. Bye.
Hey everyone, my name is Lisa Leslie and welcome to our studio here in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. We moved here in November of 2019 before the pandemic. We were so totally blessed to have been introduced to this property by a friend whose sister was about to list it for sale. She knew that we needed a large area for all of my ceramic molds and equipment that we would be bringing with us. As soon as we saw it, we knew it was meant to be. So here's our 2-story brick outbuilding that we call the barn. The whole lower level is our studio. We have plans to finish the upstairs at some point to make it a place for my hubby to display all of his firefighter memorabilia while enjoying a gorgeous view. As we come in, you can see a few things that explain why we needed such a big area. As you can see, I have a few plaster molds. It took us most of 2020 to transfer the moving boxes full of molds and supplies out of here and outside to a layer of pallets, and to cover them with tarps until we could clean it all out and add some plastic barrier to insulate the lower level from the upstairs and from the outside. We assembled these shelves that we got from a local home improvement store. It did take the first half of 2021 to sort, organize, and inventory these. We quickly figured out that we should add some zip ties to reinforce and stabilize. After that, we started arranging the equipment around the perimeter in a layout that seemed to make sense. The panel box was already in this corner, so that's where we put the kilns. And this gal just came in a few weeks ago. We have already installed the vent system and it's in place, and I've added a smart plug to it. So not only is my kiln controlled by an app, but so is my vent. I don't plan on leaving it unattended, but it would be possible. I have kept my first new manual kiln that I purchased in the 90s and added heavy-duty moving dollies to the stand to make it easier to tuck away whenever I'm not using it. It will now be my electric raku kiln. And I'm also keeping my bigger manual kiln for overflow firings. Next in line are my wheels. We haven't thrown since before moving up to Tennessee from South Carolina. We did take in-person classes from a local potter in the Charleston area and decided to get these secondhand before decided on moving. I chose them here for one reason, and I think you can see why when you look out the window. And I got this bat and wheel supply cart and these 2 metal work tables from a restaurant that was closing down. In fact, all of my equipment has been purchased used except one throwing stool, my old Duncan kiln, and my brand new gin can. I had a difficult time deciding what size and brand of kiln, but in the end, I went with the gin can. that I ended up purchasing through Michael Harbridge at Learn Fired Arts. It's kind of like buying a car. There are several brands and models, and you just have to do your homework and look at the options to see what works for you. Okay, sorry, back to my hand building corner. I kind of have a rolling pin admiration issue, and some of you who know me will be laughing right now. Jessica, I think I have most of your current pins except for the Southwest and the 2021 collage pin. I keep my cutters and my vinyl decorative mats in storage tubs underneath the bottom shelf and in these two rolling carts. I keep my mountain theme ones up on my work area close, as I use those frequently. I got this new/used North Star rolling table, slab roller that is, that had been originally purchased 20 years ago and was still in the box. One of my wear carts over here was purchased as a closeout model from a restaurant supply store. The other two were purchased used. And a little further on, you'll see my glazing area and my sink with all my storage. Our water is still turned off for the winter season down here, so I haul water down from the house in old litter jugs. There had been a frozen pipe in here before we ever bought the property, and it had been capped off, and we had to reconnect everything though. The drain runs outside and along to the back corner of the building, and it comes up and out from a pop-up. Here's our little mini fridge and a decent amount of storage for extra supplies and equipment. Now we're coming back towards the front, and here are my two pouring tables for slip casting. I prefer to not use the large vats and the pumps to hold the slip, as I don't have a large amount that I do at a time. I did, however, make 21 sports trees at Christmas, and I was pouring like a mad person. Here are a couple on the shelf that I have orders for. Here are my hubby's molds. We'll back up and give you a shot of that. 99% of them are firefighter related, and 1% are probably gun and Civil War versions. And the rest of these are mainly Christmas, religious, Tennessee theme, coastal theme, dinnerware, which would be platters, plates, cups, etc. However, my passion right now is hand building and wheel throwing. And in the middle between the rows is our hydraulic lift table that raises up probably close to 40 inches to help move some of these huge heavy molds to and from the pouring tables. Okay, back around here is my staining area. Right now I have my Christmas Santa gnome that I am using underglazes on. I like to sit for doing that, so that's why he's over here. Here are several pieces that we have made. These here at the bottom are slip cast with low fire slip, and the ones up above on the shells are hand built and wheel thrown. Some were done in Syracuse at Clayscapes for our workshop in September. It was such a great, memorable trip, I believe, for all of us. Jessica and Kevin, as well as Drew, Don, and his wife, Megan, and all the staff at Clayscapes were so wonderful to us. They are all just as wonderful in person as we see them on ClayShare. It truly is a wonderful thing to be a part of this family. Oh, and I forgot to point out my shelves and my posts here, where I store them, along with my cones. And behind is my $5, easy, don't make everyone dizzy, rehabbed thrift store cart where my GR pottery forms and other wood templates are stored. And I should give my little baby manual kiln some recognition as well. Another used piece I bought. My hubby and I discovered ClayShare when I saw a post announcing the live ClayShare Con 2020. We were shocked how much we were shown step by step and tuned in every day with pen and paper. We were hooked. My hubby surprised me with a 1-year Prime membership in May for my birthday. Whenever I got the message, I actually turned to him with tears in my eyes and I told him it was the best birthday gift he had ever given me. If you aren't a Prime member, please consider it. Well, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed our little studio tour, and we'll do this again maybe in the future when things are more productive. See y'all later. Bye.
Okay, so my studio is in 2 sections. One is my work section and the other is my kiln and display section, and it's in the bottom part of my house. So let me just quickly walk you through it. I don't want this to take too long. So my studios are made from concrete and stone, which keeps them very cool. And this is where I have all of the stuff that I've made and have for sale. This is where I take my pieces when I unload my kiln and I put them there. All of these are sold or commissioned pieces of work, which is nice. Nice way to start the new year with some nice commissions. And here are my kilns. I have 2 of the same kiln. Almost one now can become parts for the new one. This is a Scott 1027 and I just really love it. And here I have all my kiln furniture. So it is the posts and the shelving. Alrighty, so let me now walk you outside and into, this is my workspace. And it's a nice big garage, so I'm not pressed for space. Over here is just kind of junk. All these things here are actually should go in a box and get smashed. I'm not going to sell them or any, they're pretty awful. And then I just have some junk underneath here. I was going to clean up my studio and then I decided, nah, this is a real working studio and it is messy. This is where I just have odds of things in these little drawers. I have my, well, I'm not really showing you very much. You know, these are just all the little tools and the little things that I have gained for easy access. And this is my gauge that I got from Darren Ellis. He's in England. If you want a good gauge, it's fabulous. These are rubber, so when you knock them, they don't knock the gauge out of whack. It's really cool. And here is my wheel and my work area. And well, that doesn't need a whole lot of explanation. I have a bucket here for my water and a bucket here for all my trimmings. And I'm working on this pot now, which is going to, as I finish this video, I'm going to carve it and make an orchid pot. And I'll show you a completed one. Then I have my wheel trolley here, which has all my throwing and carving tools. Always need water in your studio. And these are some lumps that I have drying out as they're reclaimed. In here I have a couple of drawers which have all my underglazes tools. And then I will take you outside in a second. That's the pièce de résistance. Here I have my clay. These are all my trimmings that I've bagged up, and I can reclaim my clay, which I tend to do because, again, living in Jamaica, I can't afford to throw them out because I really pay twice what you guys would pay because I have to pay customs and duty. And there are all my boxes of clay. And here I have a rack where I have all my brushing glazes and some like here that I have not formulated as of yet. And these are pieces that I'm working on. And here are my shelves for my dipping glazes. 90% of what I do is dipping glazes. And so I've just marked them on the outside. The
the actual glaze. You can see it there. Anyway, and then just some buckets of water I use when I'm glazing. I did a glaze session the other day, so I haven't really tied it up. As I said, I decided to leave this really good and messy so you could really see what this is all about. Okay, and this is a baker's rack, 2 baker's racks that I had melded together to make one large rack. Underneath here are all of my pins and my pottery forms from Sharon Hoppy and GR Pottery Forms, and pins are from Sharon and Jess. And then these are what I use for weights, and Jess likes cat litter, which I actually did go out and get some, but up until then I was using bags of corn from the supermarket. And then this is my wedging table here, which is a little bit lower. I'm a very tall woman, so my wedging table is a bit higher than probably most people because I'm tall. And there it is there. And then this is my work table, which sits in the middle of the garage. And underneath I have stored just things that I need easy access to. So I use those flower pots to measure. I make a lot of orchid pots for my clients, and so I have the plastic ones so that I know how big to make my pots to go around it. And there are some that are just sitting waiting to get trimmed, which I'll do shortly. And then this is my baker's rack where I dry my pieces after I've cut them, and they're waiting to go into the kiln, and they'll dry. And there's a flap that I will put down through the night, and then that just allows the ambient air to dry them out and they don't get any breeze. And this is what the pot is going to look like that you saw on my wheel when I get finished. I do a lot of carving work. It's what I'm known for. And here's some luminaries that I've done to meet up with the February challenge of Light Up Your Life. And then I have my desk, and this is where I keep very explicit notes of everything that I do, everything that I make, how I made it. I use what I made, the clay, the amount and the weight of the clay, and then the dimensions of the finished piece, so that when I go back, I can always figure out what size of plate, what amount of clay to use to make another piece. And then I'm just going to end this also here. Let me give you a broad view of my studio. As again, it's messy, but it's a studio that's working. And for all of you that are bearing freezing temperatures and really cold weather, this is my view. This is what I get to enjoy every day of life. I'm a very lucky woman. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for sharing these couple of minutes while I show you around my studio in Jamaica. My name is Sally Roper, and it's been a real pleasure. And thanks to Jess and Kevin for everything that they do to make this dream possible for all of us. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, I'm Billy Ritter. Welcome to Cleveland, Ohio. We're here at the historic Hildebrandt building where my studio is. This place started in 1900, and since then it's changed drastically over the years so much, but now it houses some of the most creative folks in Cleveland. Come on in, I want to show you around. Hey, come on in. So this space began originally in 2009 by my friend Todd Leach and his wife Stephanie Craig as Hectic Studio. I got here in 2015, and since then, in the past 7 years, I've just been working to build this out and bring in my finest work and cooler things, pieces that have functional utility, that are both tableware, things that are atmospherically fired, things that are gas fired, things that are electric fired, the whole multitude and range in my work. These moon jars up here are some of my favorite pieces. The work in here changes throughout the year, spring, summer, winter, fall. I'm always making something new and something fresh. So whatever you see in here today, you probably won't see it here next time you come visit. Some of these pieces on the table represent just a bit of the different things that I make, both thrown using the potter's wheel and hand built using the slab roller and hand building techniques. So let's go into the shop and I'll show you where I work. Come on. So here on the table right now, I have some different bowls and plates and cups that I'm working on. These are kind of mid-process. So every single thing that I make is one at a time, trimmed one at a time. And so as these get trimmed, they'll slowly make their way into the back. I do a two-part process like most people that do ceramics. So these pieces will be bisque fired, then they'll be glazed and glaze fired. This space here, I also throughout the year sometimes do workshops. And so this is the workshop setup, but it's also a space where I work. As these pieces start to dry out, they make their way into the back. And in the back, let me show you that space. So back here, I have this great Scott electric kiln, and this does the first part of the firing. So we do the bisque firings in here. Works that are ready, like on their way to dry out, they're just back here waiting. So this is loaded and it's ready to go. So the next thing up is we'll fire it. After we fire it and the work comes out, it's ready to be glazed. So back here, we've built this really nice glaze lab. So we try to use all the things that make really good colors. All the colors here are mixed old school from scratch using simple recipes that are both food safe and beautiful. After things are glazed, they make their journey over to the next cart, and it's really just a big circle. So here on this cart, these pieces are on deck, ready to go. And then they'll make their way into the gas kiln. The gas kiln is really my favorite thing here, and this was built by Todd Leach and some of his friends when Hectic Studio was first established. In this kiln, we fire like a hot cone 10, cone 11 with the really firm reduction, and the colors get really juicy and awesome. And we've been firing this kiln together for the past 7 years, and I still love it every time. So this is it. This is my studio here at the historic Hildebrandt building in Cleveland, Ohio. I hope you message me and schedule a visit. I would love to meet you. Thanks, everybody.
Wow, weren't all those studio tours great? I love seeing everybody's workspace. I love how, you know, not everybody cleans their studio up for a studio tour, that you keep it real and show how it is. You know, a lot of times we're so busy making, we might not have time to clean, or just the fact that making pottery can be a little messy, and that's okay. How about a studio in Jamaica? I know, right? That's like my dream. And everybody else who shared their studio tour with us today, thank you so much. I love seeing in the studio. So we're going to take a little break. We'll be back at 10 with Michael Harbridge. He's going to be doing some banding methods. So we're going to have the tutorials roll on in.